Get you in a minute. Good afternoon, folks. My name is Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. Purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I'll determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred, and more likely than not that you're the person who committed that crime. Of course, as you stand before me this afternoon, I presume that you're innocent to these allegations. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the State Attorney's Office is able to prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We'll set your conditions of pretrial release this afternoon, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond settled ready pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit, or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this afternoon. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you haven't had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. You all solemnly swear or affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, none but the truth. Outstanding. When you hear your name called, please step forward to the podium. Amanda Bello. Or miss what you did at birth?
10/1/79.
All right, Amanda, I've got 4 charges today. I've got driving on a suspended license, possession of a controlled substance, possession of drug paraphernalia, and introduction of contraband into a detention facility. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
An actual constructive possession of synthetic 2018 adjudication of guilt out of Fort Pierce. Actual constructive possession of synthetic cannabinoid guilty 2018 out of St. Lucie. St. Lucie disorderly conduct adjudication of guilt 2014, and as well as resisting an officer without violence. Synthetic and 2 counts 2011 adjudication of guilt out of St. Lucie. Obtaining or attempting to obtain a controlled substance. Served time in St. Lucie, adjudication of guilt, resisting an officer without violence, adjudication of guilt in 2009. Actual constructive possession of synthetic in 2005, adjudication of guilt out of St. Lucie. Petty theft, adjudication withheld in 98 out of Broward County.
All right, that's
all
all.
I'm showing you.
Amanda, I have an address for you, West Keith Bray Court. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
Like 3 months.
You have a job these days?
Yes, sir. I have 2 jobs.
What do you do?
I work for Evergreen Professional Landscaping and Hardens.
Okay. All right, we'll set your bond on the driving on a suspended license at $500, on the controlled substance at $1,000, on the paraphernalia at $500, and on the introduction at $2,000. That's a total of $4,000. We're going to have you back in court on the 19th of February. If you get out, Amanda, it's very important that you contact the public defender's office right away, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Crystal Davis? Crystal, what's your date of birth?
11/2/92.
Crystal, you have 1 count of battery on a detainee. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the PD. State what you got.
A Hillsborough adjudication of guilt for habitual offender driving with license suspended in 2017 A flee with disregard of safety to person or property, guilty, adjudication of guilt in 2017. Spent prison again in 2016 for driving with license suspended, third or subsequent offense. Grand theft of motor vehicle, adjudication of guilt in 2016. Driving with license suspended, adjudication of guilt in 2016. A Pasco County failure to appear in 2011, as well as a Hernando County failure to appear in 2011, with Polk charges of a paraphernalia in 2009, adjudication of guilt. Actual constructive synthetic 2009, adjudication of guilt. That's all I'm showing, Your Honor.
Okay. And Crystal, did you have a regular address before you last entered the county jail?
Brooksville.
Any place in particular?
23415 Lennon Street.
Okay. And how long has it been since you had a job?
Never.
Okay. I'll leave the bond at $2,000. Condition is that they keep you separate from the alleged victim. Looks like Milford. They'll do that. You'll be back in court on this on the 19th of February. PD will come see you before then, okay? Sherikan Wadi. Sorry. What's your date of birth?
7/9/90.
I have 2 charges today, possession of cocaine and driving under the influence. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay, I'll appoint the PD then. State, what can you tell me?
I'm showing a 2009 Tennessee theft with no disposition and a dropped Hernando County child abuse charge in 2011, as well as a no motor vehicle registration.
All right. And Ms. Wadi, I have an address for you on Henderson Street in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
My whole life. I've lived there my whole life.
Okay. You got a job these days?
I actually just lost my job.
Okay. I'll set your bond on the cocaine at $2,000, on the driving at $1,000. That's a total of $3,000. I'm going to have you back in court on February 19th. If you get out, it's very important that you contact the public defender, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Jose Carasquillo. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
November 24, 81.
Got a couple issues for you this afternoon. The first is a warrant signed by Judge Angelitis. He found probable cause for 1 count of failure to comply with sex offender registration requirements. And I have a warrant signed by Judge Toner. He found probable cause for 2 counts, aggravated battery with a firearm and felon in possession of firearm. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Fully defender, sir.
I'll appoint the public defender, Steve.
Yes, you are.
Yep. Hang on.
I'm showing a sexual battery on 18-year-old or older without consent, adjudication of guilt in 2007 as petty theft in 2007, adjudication of guilt out of Polk County, a fleeing elude out of Osceola with no disposition, a Willis 2004 adjudication of guilt, flee and elude 2004 adjudication of guilt, reckless driving adjudication of guilt in 2004, aggravated battery with a firearm 2006 adjudication of guilt, a retail theft 2001 adjudication of guilt, adjudication of guilt for another charge of retail theft in 2001 out of Polk County.
That's pretty good. Jose, I've got an address for you on Chase Street in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
You can leave that one, but I was moving to 7581 Jamel.
Jamel Drive. There, I got that address too. All right. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a barber, sir.
Okay. Where do you do that?
I do that on the Zone Barbershop right on Northcliffe.
Okay. On the fail to register, I'm going to set the bond at $5,000. Condition of that bond is that you'll be subject to GPS monitoring at your expense due to your status. That case is coming back on the 19th of February. On the Judge Toner's warrant, I'll leave the bonds for the warrant there, which is $25,000 on each count. That makes your total all the way around $55,000. In Judge Toner's warrant, you'll also be subject to GPS monitoring at your expense due to your status. You'll also have no contact of any kind with Quincy Oakman. That case will also be back on the 19th of February. If you're able to bond out, you should contact the public defender's office right away. If you can't get out, they're going to come see you at the jail before you go to court again, okay?
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Dominic Bogar. Dominic, what's your date of birth?
5297.
Dominic, you're here on a warrant that I signed. I found probable cause for violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on that warrant is no bond. I'm not going to change that. I'll have you back in court on the 27th of February. Public defender will come out and see you and see if you can get that case resolved by the end of this month, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Justin Dupuy. Afternoon, Justin. Date of birth?
April 2nd, 1989.
Justin, today I've got a grand theft auto. There's probable cause for the charge. As to the charge, you're going to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private counsel. Would you like the PD?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
I'm showing a 2012 robbery, no firearm or weapon, adjudication of guilt where a prison sentence was imposed, a criminal mischief, adjudication of guilt in 2010, out of Hernando County, as well as a battery in 2010, adjudication of guilt out of Hernando County.
Justin, I've got an address for you. I don't have an address. Where have you been staying lately?
7037 Myrtle Street, Weeki-Washi. My mother's house. Lived there for 10 years.
Okay. You got a job these days?
Yes, sir. Liberty and painting.
All right. Set your bond then at $1,000, Justin. I'll have you back in court on the 19th. Make sure you give the public defender a call when you get out, all right?
All right. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you. You bet. Trevor Schreffler. Afternoon, sir. What's your date of birth?
42089.
Trevor, the first thing I have is some new arrests. I have 3 counts of ag assault on a Leo, 1 count of domestic battery, 1 count of false imprisonment, 3 counts of resisting without violence. There's probable cause for those. I then have a probable cause arrest for a VOP and a warrant signed by Judge Toner for a VOP. And for everyone who's involved today, they relate to the same case. So I don't know what y'all want to do with that PC arrest on the VOP, but it relates to the same case where Judge Toner had already issued a warrant. I'm going to deal with them both at first appearance since it doesn't make a lot of difference to Trevor, but they are clearly not separate cases. So Trevor, you want to represent yourself? You want to hire a private counsel, or would you like the public defender?
PD.
I'll appoint the public defender. The bond on the VOP, of course, is going to be no bond. I can't change that. That's coming back on the 13th of February. Okay. I think they told you the 19th, but the right date is the 13th. On the new charges, on the 3 counts of ag assault on the Leo, I'm going to set the bond at $5,000 each. On the battery, at $5,000. The false imprisonment at $5,000, and on the 3 counts of resisting without at $1,000 each. That comes to $28,000. Condition of that bond, because you can't get out, is that you will not call or write Jennifer Burkle from the jail, so no contact with Ms. Burkle. These are also, I'm going to move these to the 13th of February, so all your cases are in the same place, and the PD will come see you before you go to court, okay?
All right.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks, folks.